Hello, friends. Welcome to the Thrive Forward podcast. I am excited you are joining us for our first episode of 2022. Can you believe it? We're here. It's 2022. At the beginning of the year, have you ever, I'm asking this kind of sarcastically, been told that you should set resolutions or goals for yourself? Well, I'm sure you have. In today's episode, we're kind of going to debunk a little bit of the goal setting aspect and share with you what our impacts we want to make as an organization are in 2022 and how those will impact you personally. How can you join our mission moving financial empowerment for women and people of color forward? We have so much goodness happening this year that I don't want you to miss out on this great episode, because for you to join us going into the new year. So if you set money as one of your goals, I don't care what type of category it is, this is for you, my dear friend. And if you know anyone else who is setting a goal around their money in 2022, send this episode right on over to them so they can give a listen. Now, let's get into the good stuff. Oftentimes, we find ourselves setting goals for ourselves. It's the new year. It's a new me. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to have all of these things in life that I'm going to work towards in this year. And I've been guilty of that myself. It feels like a nice fresh new planner that you get where the pages are crisp. If you're still the person like me that likes to write things down, I'm slowly transitioning to electronic as my team pushes me to be more resourceful. And I think back to myself often when I am serving my clients and ideally kind of how we're trying to aim our goals going forward. I remember being a crazy, busy, working, stressed to the max mom and wife and wearing all of these different hats. And a lot of times knowing and wanting so badly to be independent, not to be that, pretty woman who walks into a store and automatically has this guy who's fawning over her and is going to buy her all of these things and take care of her, right? I wanted to be independent. In fact, I think on our first date with my now husband, Jim, I said, if you're not comfortable dating an independent woman, then this is probably not going to work. And that carried forward. And lucky for him and me, he's very comfortable in dealing with somebody who is strong-minded, strong-willed, and has big dreams. And that's me. Except for when I was in this corporate setting, I sometimes felt like, oh man, I'm achieving all these things, but I never feel like I can quite wrap my head around everything else that's happening or all of the things that are going on. And I find that quite frequently to be the case with many of the women that I get the pleasure of walking the journey with. And you have this ball and that ball in the air and you're trying to move forward. And I think about it in the sense of overwhelm. And starting a new year can sometimes set us in this place of excitement and wanting to set new goals and move forward in that overwhelm and just plow it over, right? As soon as the clock hits midnight on December 31st and it's now January 1st, 2022, we're a new person. But the reality is so many of those things follow us forward. It isn't quite that crisp planner. It might be a new chapter, it might be a new opportunity for us to look at things differently and work towards some of those goals, whether it be fitness or eating healthier or getting that new job or buying a new car or paying off this debt, hiring a financial advisor, becoming more empowered with your life as a whole. Well, the reality is I refer to this plenty of times when I am meeting with different sex couples. So man and woman. Man and woman's brains work very differently. And sometimes I love us women, but we are complex beings. And there's actually a TED Talk that's kind of funny to watch if you have a partner of the opposite sex, to watch together and see kind of how the different brains work. That being said, we want to be achieving these things. We want to care for the people in our lives. We want to be, for me at least, I wanted to be the really successful career woman who never missed a beat and always still was the mom who brought the good treats to whatever party or daycare thing or school thing that it was. I wanted to be the mom who sat in the front row for every activity, and realizing that maybe now, in order to do those things, I need to be able to delegate other things. I need to be able to give something away in order to get to that place. I also know that I don't have all of the answers for every single thing in my life. Believe it or not, yes, I don't always have it together. Newsflash, I don't think any of us do. Instagram and other social media channels might also deceive what life looks like, right? So how do we reposition ourselves in this new year? How do we continue to be independent, continue to achieve what we've wanted to do, and those goals after goals, and evolve with those changes without having to do it all ourselves? It sometimes feels like we might be carrying this backpack that keeps getting filled with all of these other responsibilities that we have in life. And some of the other things can be, well, caught by the wayside. And that's where our personal and business goals for Forethought this year wanted to meet you where you were at. To be able to give you alternatives for education through the podcast, through our Money on Your Mind series, through our wealth circles. And we'll kind of break some of those things down on why we are different and how we can maybe meet you where you are on your journey in 2022. That being said, I want you, while you're listening to this, to take a deep breath. Maybe another one. You don't have to do it all. No one says you have to. But there are going to be things that you're going to need to clarify on the people that you want to involve into your life, who you're going to partner with and work with in these different scenarios, so that you really know who those people are that you can trust. I often refer to those individuals as your personal board of directors, but I think that's an expansive term. And that's why I showed up in designing Forethought planning a little bit differently. In fact, I just had this conversation with a woman who is thinking about a career as a financial advisor, which super excites me. I get super stoked when people want to join me in this mission, moving financial education and empowerment for women and people of color forward. That being said, she told me that she was really ready to give up her dream because after researching and having conversations, she felt like she was going to fail in corporate America that was designed for a male in this area, and that she wasn't going to be able to fulfill the goals and the pressure and the things that were happening. And when she got off the phone with me, she was like, I'm re-energized. I feel like maybe I could do something like this. I ordered this test so I can start taking and studying for these things. Let me know what some next steps might be. Which is like super awesome that somebody followed up and had these types of conversation and drive after a conversation I had with them. And that's about a career. But I want clients to feel that same way when you meet with us. And we have clients who are coming from so many different walks of life and are kind of filling that backpack up with all of these responsibilities, and the load feels heavy. So how do we lessen that load? Well, we look at your life comprehensively. I've always found one of my gifts to be giving connections to people, helping to introduce individuals. It's something that I love doing. In fact, if you're familiar with the Enneagram, I am a 2, 3, sometimes tied, sometimes one wins more than the other. But it too, if you're not familiar with that, can sometimes be deemed with a title of helper, title of connector, somebody who really cares about relationships. And although I help people every single day with their finances, and so do our team, it's more than that. It's how are we building a basis of connecting because money touches every aspect of your life. So it's important that we have those resources for the really crazy busy, backpack filling, showing up to soccer games with the brownies and the Gatorade or whatever, trying to figure out how they're going to control and plan for whatever other schedules are happening with work, with family, with caregiving, whatever it might be, right? Got all these titles and things that you've got to do, and you show up with us and you want to understand your finances, but you also might need a connection for somebody to clean your house, somebody to meal prep for you. Who can I get as a personal trainer to show up to my house? Who can help me meal plan in a healthy way? By the way, do you know anybody that has summer camps that are accessible? How about fitness? How about volunteering? How about, all of these other aspects of our lives that money touches? Can I afford to do something like that? I'll never forget being able to work with a mom, a couple, but specifically mom, being able to help her see that they could actually limit some of the stress that she had on her plate by hiring out some of this help. And selfishly, I think it's so great for us to build the economy that way. We're employing somebody else to be able to do that work. We're helping somebody else's household by writing that paycheck, right? Especially when we support other small businesses, other businesses that are women owned or owned by people of color. These businesses are thriving and have the ability to move forward on their missions when we hire them to do the work. But some of that starts with, am I even able to do it? Can I get through some of these hurdles? Can I do some of these things? And it's always been so important for me to be able to show that to all people at all different levels. Like, hey, if you cut back in this space, you could do this space. Hey, you actually have excess over here. You could do this. What if this were able to give you more space in your life? But the reality is sometimes we're filling up our backpack just way too much and way too full, that we're not taking the time to sort out what is really going in. And do we need to have it? Do we not need to have it? What does that affect in our life in a positive way or a negative way? What are the things that are important? I have had women who have come to me when they are working through addiction. I've had in any form, not just the substance abuse we might think of in alcohol and drugs, but there are real issues when it comes to spending or eating or body behaviors. There are all different kinds of things. And honestly, that does relate back to our finances. And that's why women want more comprehensive people to help them. Whenever you Google, in fact, I think it's kind of interesting. A lot of things come up when you talk about what are women looking for from somebody to partner and go alongside them financially. The number one thing is somebody that's going to listen to them. Yes, of course, we want people who are going to be accredited, people who are going to be licensed, people who have been in the business and can give good advice or have a team that is solid behind them to help them. That being said, listening is the top thing that you're going on most search engines to be able to find. That communication is something that's so important, and it's at the core of what we do here at Forethought Planning. In fact, as we launch into 2022, and we're talking about goals and unpacking that backpack, I wanted to share with you what are some of the things that we want to help you unpack that backpack with. What are we doing this year to be impactful from an organization standpoint? Well, in 2022, we will be celebrating year number 2 of being in business at Forethought Planning. It's hard to believe that's the space. We've grown as a team. It's not just yours truly anymore. We are a team of multiples now, and we have executive admin, marketing director, internship opportunities, as well as we're expanding our wealth advisor team to be able to serve more clients like yourself in financial planning, wealth management, and making sure that that plan of investment management aligns with the things that you think are important in your life. And so that being said, we've kind of come together as a team and said, how can we show up better for all of those women who feel like that backpack and load is really heavy? Of course, we have our comprehensive financial planning, wealth management, and investment resources and have the ability to take you on as a client. But we also want to be able to show up giving you resources that you can listen to. So for instance, on our social media every week, we take snippets from the podcast. So you don't have to necessarily write everything down when you're listening, because chances are right now you're maybe in the car, you're doing a workout, you're dinner prepping, you're doing all multiple things and don't necessarily have the ability to write things down. So if you follow us on social media, we are going to give you the tidbits of knowledge from this podcast that are actionable for you. The other spin-off of the podcast, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The spin-off of the podcast became like, well, what if people had questions to ask of us, and then we could go back and answer them. So in December of 2021, we launched our series Money on Your Mind, which launches every Monday with a new question that comes from you, the audience. You can submit to it on not on our Facebook, on our website. You can submit to it on our website. And that is where we just literally, in a short synopsis, answer your question. Of course, some of these things are going to be pretty broad stroke because we can't give you personal advice without understanding your full financial situation, which is where you can be encouraged to schedule a wealth assessment. But maybe it's that time where you're just like, I just have this burning desire to understand this question. And no matter how many times I use the Google machine, I just can't get a straight up answer. Or maybe I ask either my existing financial advisor or someone else, and I just feel like they're dancing around the topic and they're not actually asking me anything or answering me anything or getting to understand what it is that I want to know. So we launched Money on Your Mind, and we've got a few episodes. You can visit all of them on our website, and you can submit your own question there. So if you have listened to any of these episodes and you're like, man, I wish I could ask Shannon these questions, it's your opportunity to be able to do that through our Money on Your Mind series. One piece that I am incredibly excited about, you guys, launches at the end of this month in January and will occur every single month going forward. So it is a series called Wealth Circles. It is a time commitment. And so I do know that you're filling up that backpack, but I also know that when we prioritize the things that are really important to us in our lives, we make a substantial move forward in the directions that we know might be best for us, right? I don't say this as like, this is your magic pill to make everything better in your life, but this is an opportunity to sit down with other women in multiple different aspects of their financial journeys. And every month we are going to pick a new topic that yours truly will sit down with you, educate you, empower you on. In small groups, we'll be able to discuss and kind of work through some of those questions that we might have in a safe space that is both virtually and in person. We'll have hybrid option available, but it creates community, connection, empowerment, education, and tools and resources for you to truly take your wealth journey by the arms and move it forward in the direction you want to go. That is something that has been so cool. Not only are we doing that, but there is this element that I want you to understand. We're not charging for it. I don't think education should be something that we have to charge a fee for, especially when it comes to finances. So often I see these things on the internet that are like, make yourself 6 figures of business in 6 months. And it's like, well, you can't count on that for me. How can I actually do this? I'm going to invest 10 grand with you. And like, am I going to get that money back? I think a lot of times we need to sit down and do the personal work ourselves. And that's where I said, all right, well, you know what? I don't see this happening. I'm going to do it. We're going to figure it out as a team, how to make this accessible to just about every woman there is out there. My ask is, while I give my time to you, I want you to give to an organization that is moving the direction forward for other women, children, and people of color when it comes to the wealth gap, empowerment, financial education, like being able to really put your money where your mouth is when it comes to moving missions forward. While I teach, you give. While I give, you give. So every month we're asking you to make a donation. We have these nonprofits we've already researched on your behalf. If you've watched or listened to some of the episodes previously, you know, we utilize resources like Charity Navigator and looking into, you know, past press about these nonprofits. And we really look forward to showcasing these 13 to 14 different nonprofits through the calendar year of 2022 so that you can learn, even if you don't participate in the wealth circles, a little bit more about these nonprofits. So those are two pieces that we're doing to create and grow education. The third piece that is something that's really important to me is I know I can't teach everybody. I need to partner with other organizations that are and doing the work. So part of what we want to be able to do is donate a percentage of our profits every year. I have a goal that I want to work towards to be able to get to be at a place that feels really good for me from a small business capacity. If we get to this point, I will probably be in tears, but we're going to start with 5% of our profits in 2022 going to nonprofits, again, who are supporting the decrease in wealth gap, the equity gap, the pay gap, being able to bring resources to specifically to small businesses owned by women and people of color, financial education in communities that need that or suffer mainly from economic inequities. We are going to partner with these organizations, allowing them to be on our platform and raising their voice while also giving their dollars to them, because I think that it's important. We need to understand we can't, again, like I said, can't do everything. I can't do everything. You can't do everything. So we've got to be able to partner together to work towards that. We will also have plenty of other events throughout the year that you can join us for, live broadcasts of the podcast, economic updates, other things that will bring towards you all. Of course, we love to hear from you. If there is a specific topic or event or things of that sort that you would like to see, we would love to be able to create that. One of the things that separates us from the individuals who are different from us is that we want to hear from you and what it is that you want. Maybe it's that you want a networking event in the Twin Cities here because you want to get to know people in a way that doesn't feel scary and networky and cheesy, and you have to bring a referral to be, or you have to have a certain number of dollars to even enter the room, or you have to make this donation to enter the room. You just want to be. Or you have to be a part of a membership. If there's something like that you want to see us be able to do in 2022, we would love that opportunity to be able to support any missions forward. Of course, we will continue with episodes of the Thrive Forward podcast that launch every Tuesday, where we will bring on resources. I will share knowledge with you as we grow all together going into 2022. In this month of January, we will also focus on questions that you should be asking. You don't have to hire us, but what should you be asking when you go into those situations? Of course, we love to work with you. We want all of you to come join the Forethought family, but we understand that that might not be what's in the cards for you. So what questions should you be asking your financial advisor? Just as a caveat, we do work with anybody in the United States, so you don't have to be in Minnesota. We have licenses across the country to be able to serve, and because we have great technology, it makes for an easy way to communicate with each other. That being said, so we're going to talk about what questions you should ask. We're also going to talk about what if I did this on my own? What does that look like? And then we're also going to bring on one of my dear friends, KBK, who is a wealth psychologist, and we are going to work through some financial behaviors specifically for women and what you should be paying attention to in 2022. So if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the Thrive Forward podcast so you don't miss out on any of those goodies. But I want to give you an additional action item. It's not just subscribe today. And I'm going to continue to ask you to make these steps throughout 2022 moving forward. How Are you going to take ownership in the goals that you set for yourself in 2022? I challenge you. So many people that I talk to say that financial wellness and a good relationship with my money, hiring a financial advisor, understanding my financial picture are all goals that they have. Yet they wait till the last minute of the year to be able to do that. Think about what if you started today? Schedule that wealth assessment with us. Schedule a consultation with somebody else, even if it isn't us. Schedule that appointment with the CPA. Understand your employee benefits. Whatever that is, stop putting it off on your checklist and check it off today. It doesn't take us as long to accomplish these things as we think, but sometimes we just put them off because we're too scared to move forward. Don't be scared, my friend. You have the power to empower yourself and create a great team around yourself. Because as I always say, you are worthy of wealth.